All right, this is a funny story, so I thought I'd share it. It's it's like what? It's early. It's like 6:30, 7 something. It's before 7 o'clock, quarter to seven. But like for the last 30 to 45 minutes or so, maybe longer, I was hearing like voices outside of my window. Now I know that the guy that lives with the landlord, nobody around here gets up that early, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So I'm laying here and I'm like, okay, well, maybe the guy went outside to talk, and maybe, the neighbor across the street or something came to talk to him. I don't know. So, and then I'm starting to get scared because it sounds like English that I'm hearing. And then I'm scared, starting to get scared because I'm like, are people selling drugs over here? Because I really, don't want that. And then I don't want, and I can't stop it, but I don't want to know about it. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason for like nobody to be by my window. There's no house beside me anymore. You know, basically, somebody's going to the truck and coming back. That's about it. So I'm laying here, I'm hearing these voices, and then part of me is like, you stay your honey in the house. Don't you go out there because you don't want to walk out in the middle of just craziness. Because I used to live in Overtown, and I remember one time going to the court to check on my case or whatever, to see what was going on, because there's somebody was saying that it's not a conviction or whatever. And I was just like, well, I've been going walking around telling people that it was, but I guess it doesn't matter whether I tell people, if it's been whatever the case may be, because now it's out on the internet. And regardless of if they removed it or not, all that false information is out there, so it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole different thing, but I'm not gonna go into that. But basically, so I was scared at first because, like I said, Overtown, I remember walking to try to find out something about court or whatever, and this is like last September, and I walked into like literally 48 hours and CSI and all that. I walked into a crime scene. I walked into a murder. I walked into there's like a fly or something around here, and I really don't like bugs, but I'll get over it. But I walked into like a murder, and literally I walked into a murder, and it was about this time. It was like started like maybe at 4 in the morning. I think it happened at 4, and when I got there it was like 6:30, and that's when all the police and all the movie people or whatever were there. I was like, and when I say movie people, they propagandize off of crime in Miami, so they shoot 48 hours and all that stuff, the first 48. But so I was, part of me was like, don't you dare go out there. You might walk into, the middle of something crazy. You might walk into a murder. You might walk into somebody doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, and because you saw it, they just lose their mind. So, but part of me is like, well, I can't live in fear because, um, you know, I don't want this every day. This is the first time I'm hearing it. And so I need to just let them know that I see you, and I would appreciate it if you not do that here. So I went out the door to look. And when I went out the door to look, it's funny, I saw somebody coming off of the roof. And I have to admit, I was kind of puzzled because the way they were coming off of the roof, it didn't look like they were trying to break into anything. It just looked like they were just like clumsy. So I thought, well, maybe, it's a homeless person, and maybe, they needed some place to sleep. So they just, decided to sleep back here because they figured nobody would be around, so they could sleep and just get up early or something. So, but I looked, and it's the landlord. He climbed on top of the roof of the shed, and he was like hanging. He was hanging halfway on and halfway off. And so, you know, I didn't recognize him at first. I just saw a man hanging half off the roof. So I'm standing there, I'm looking. And then I see his face, and I was like, no, that's not the landlord. And I was just like, what are you doing? And he didn't say anything. And it's just initial reaction. It wasn't, you know how you don't think about it. You're just like, what are you doing? And so, he didn't say anything. And so then after a while, he was like, "You help me." I mean, obviously, like he was on something. And so I was like, okay, my mind kicked in. I was like, okay, maybe I should help because I don't want this man to fall off the roof. And so I'm like, I know he's not working on the roof because he doesn't do that. He just doesn't do that. So I'm like, why is he on the? What is going on? And then I was like, well, maybe he decided that would just be. I was like, did you sleep on the roof? And he was just like, will you help me? And so I didn't know how to help him because the ladder really wasn't high enough. I don't even know how he got on the roof because the ladder wasn't high enough to reach the roof. It wasn't, he could, I don't know how he got on the roof because the ladder was definitely not high enough. And so I was thinking, like, how does he want me to help him? Does he want me to pick him up and, like, take him down? I'm like, and I can't. Does he want me to hold the ladder up to meet his feet? And that's not going to work because when he steps on it, it's going to fall. And I'm going to hurt myself. So I didn't know what to do. So I was like, okay. And I grabbed his legs. And he had like a beer. And I was like, are you drunk? So to me, I'm not a good storyteller, but it was just, if you could have been there, it was just like, because the emotions go from like annoyed because I'm like, what is going on out there, to fear, like, okay, you don't need to go out there, and then wanting to stand up for yourself and like you need to say, so all of this for nothing, for some, but it ended up being crazy anyways. Like I said, my life is crazy, and then you find out somebody's on the roof goofing off, so. Anyways, I didn't do a good job of telling that story. I need to work on that. So maybe I'll put some really bad. I put bad singing on my channel. I guess I could put bad comedy on there too. But anyways, I just wanted to get that out, the story, and I had to tell it. Anyways, bye.